Let me show you a tool that I found that we all have access to that um, works with Smart, but also allows you to work with your students. So instead of one student doing it, all students can do it. So I'm here at suite.smarttechjust.com. Sign in as teacher. I sign in as a teacher. This is me, and we'll all have a paid account. So now that I'm here, these are the activities I've already done. Let me show you how easy it is because I can add an activity. And when I add an activity, I can pull it from either my device or from Google Drive. So I'm going to go from my device. Now, many of you have already created multiple lessons. So this is one that I've created. I'm going to choose this one. And now it's going to upload it right to my Google Suite, online learning suite. Now, with each slide, we have a choice to make it interactive, so we can convert it to an activity or not. And maybe instead of reading the instructions, if we come down here, we can record the instructions. So I click on this, allow it to use my microphone. When this loads, I can start the recording. So on this page, we're going to learn the vocabulary for absolute value, which is the distance between numbers. And then you can continue to record. Now, because I am already recording my screen, this recording isn't going to work. But what happens is, now that I'm done recording, you can see right up here will be the speaker, and the kids can play that, and it will read that for them or whatever you explain to them. I'm going to go to the next slide. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to create an activity. I'm going to make it an individual one. And what I need to do is I need to record some audio. So now I've created an audio. I can preview it. This is the activity. This is exactly what the students will see. And so now I can drag this over here and they can create this equation or expression. And the nice thing is that if for some reason your already created slide was for whole group and you don't have things for a small group, now you can just type in the instructions and then those will stay there with the students so that now you have instructions. You can go through and you can convert this activity. Now we're going to come down to this one. And we can do the same thing. So here's my number line, here's 0. And this time I want them to put this dot where they start and then move, draw arrows the way that it needs to move. And so come down here, I hit audio, and then I can record the instructions. Okay, now we would do the same thing here. So now let me show you what that's going to look like presented to the students. So now I've finished editing. I come over to my activity, I click on it, and I'm going to start or edit. I also have these options here: share link, make a copy. I'm going to start my activity. Now on my activity, if I want students to join it, I can either make it teacher paced, which means I change the slides for them, or I can make it student paced, so they change their own slides. And this is my login information. If I want to make it big, I click here. So now my students will go to hellosmart.com and click or type in that ID. Now this activity is a discussion board. So the student has typed in, "Hello everyone." And on their screen, they can see that they have completed it. Now I'm going to go to the next page. And the student would play this for themselves. And the next page, now I can view student progress. So I can see here that who's logged in. On their screen, they hit start. And then on their screen, they hit done. And now you can see what that student has done and their work. And that continues on. Now, if you are in this application and you want to add a slide, it's as easy as in Smart. And so I click here. I can do a shout out page. I can do a response page. So if you're used to the Smart response, this is where you can put that in. You can do multiple questions. You can do game-based activities. And so you have a fill in the blank, a flip out, label reveal. So there's lots of different activities that you can do here with the game-based activities. And you have some already made things. Now you can see that the groups aren't very big because this is newer, but I can add a new page or I can add a YouTube. Now here's an activity that's made. You have a timer. So this is going to be an individual student activity, and they're going to say if it's an integer or not. And got it right. Got it wrong. So it's kind of a fun activity, and so they can sort those, and they can see what happens when they get it right, or when they get it wrong. And this is a pre-made activity that's already done. Now there are some pros and cons, and some say, why would I use this instead of using Nearpod? Or so here's some pros and cons. The pros are, I already have lots of Smartboard activities made. So I just import them in, and then the students can interact with them. The downside is that there's no reporting. They do it, you can see what they've done, but there's no grading of it. Now, if you do the quizzes in here and you do an activity that has a quiz, there will be a grade and it'll show you how many they got right and wrong. But for each slide, there isn't those types of things. The other thing that I wasn't a big fan of is that when I view their activity, I have to click on each one individually, where in other programs it has kind of a tile layout. I do like the ease of creation. I like that I can just quickly put in an audio link so the students can click on it. I like the interactivity that they have. The students are familiar with smart boards, and so they should be familiar with this also. So here's a review of suite.smarttech.com that all teachers have access to.